got the moving jaw back in the shaper. This side here, I ground both these surfaces parallel to which will be the top. And when I roughed it, I left probably almost a millimeter, about 40 thou. And then when I ground it, I just grounded enough just to clean up the two surfaces. And what that left me with was about 35 thou to come off there to hit our target. And I don't have a mill running, obviously, working on that as well, but rather than grinding this 35 thou, I thought, well, I'll put it back in the shaper and see how finicky a cut we can make. And this here, I took a pass at about 20 thou, and then I took a pass at 5 thou, and this just stepping over, I think at about 20 thou step overs. This is a really nice finish, just the way it is. I mean, you can tell it's, you know, a little duller than a ground finish, but it's quite smooth. So I'm going to flip it around, take the same amount off of this side, which will leave us about 10 thou for grinding. So what I've done there is I just came back down to a 0 that I had, just to make sure I was running the same. So now I'm going to dial down to 20. I've got the moving jaw in the grinder right now, and what I've done is I've ground this dimension here, and I'm not sure if it showed up in one of the other videos, but I put a relief in this corner so I could grind to this face and to this face, which will become the slot, like a sliding way. So what I've got now is I've got this is the second side down to final dimension, and so I just plunged down in there, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to relieve on the original part. This corner is relieved, so I'm going to pick some, you know, maybe 30-degree angle or something, and use this line here from the grind as my mark, and then just take that out, clean that up. So the block's just standing up, got an angle block backing it up just to make sure it doesn't move, and so we're down, then we should be 1 inch 500 between the two sides. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the shaper. I'm just going to knock this corner. I'm going to put a 45-degree angle on this side and this side. Just line it up with, just eyeball it with the, this is the ground surface, to keep the moving jaw centered in the vise. So I'm just going to pick up this line and run the shaper and peel that off there. Not sure if you caught that, but that table moved. What happened was I didn't have the screw backlash taken up, so the table moved over, which isn't a big deal. We just bring the tool back down and bring the table over a little bit. Just a slight change in the plan of attack here was I'm not sure, I was drawing the tool up and something was happening with the clapper. It was grabbing the tool really strange on the way back, so I made some adjustments, and what I'm doing now is I'm just coming in from the top and just taking metal out that way. So we're still going to end up with the same thing with that 45 on there. Clear that down to this ground surface just to break that corner and make sure that the 1" 500 is clear to go down inside the vise. So at this point, knock these corners, these 45s, and at the same time, while I had it set up, I took this thickness here to dimension, and so this is the piece of the vise that I have, obviously without the moving jaw. So this is this thickness here is a nice tight fit now. We're getting there. So the next step is these two surfaces here are just roughed in right now. I'm going to take those and put the top back down on this has been kind of my datum. So I'm going to put this back down on the grinder and take these down. I got to take about 10 thou off each side of that. So I'll do that in one setup. Grind one side, move the grinder around and grind the other side. Just an update. I've done a bit of roughing. Well, I've shown
pretty much how we got to this point here now. So these are rough ground in, getting close. The top of the moving jaw is all pretty much ready. So what I've been working on now is these guys are the keepers, and they've got a little angle on them there, which they sit down inside of here like so. They'll be on the front side of the jaw. So I've got those roughed in. They need a couple of holes put in each one of them. And then the other thing I just finished roughing in was these guys here, which are going to be the jaws. And I've been using the shaper for roughing all these in. Finish turned out pretty good. What I'm going to do, these are 4140. There's some leftover material I had, so I'm actually going to drill and counterbore for the fasteners, and then I'm going to send these out and have them hardened, and then we'll grind them. So we're getting there.